Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. And thank you, Jesus. It's around that time right here on KAZ Radio. We have one of my most favorite shows, Marital Toolbox, with Pastor Octavia Lucas. Take it away, Pastor.
Hey, 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 everyone. Happy New Year. Oh, wow. I know everyone's excited. I know I'm excited about the new year. Don't know pretty much what it's going to hold, but one thing I do know is when you go, I'm going in it with God. So I'm sure that if there's any surprises, they're going to be great surprises. They're going to be great surprises. They're going to be beautiful surprises. That's going to benefit me, and not just benefit me, my family, and those that are also connected to me. So I'm just excited about the year and just going forward, especially with the marital toolbox. I'm just working on some things, more guests. More different things that I want to reach out to and just venture off into, as far as just bringing, on the marital toolbox and just heighten up some of the conversations and different things. And I really want to just dive into, I know I have in the past, we've talked about a lot of conversations, but I really want to, kind of go out on a limb. When I say out on a limb, not out on a limb, to limb, but enough limb to go out and hit those topics of conversations that people don't really talk about. I get a lot of questions, concerns, and all different types of things. And some of them, as I said, I'll do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or if as I'm led, I'll pick something. But I have passed up a lot of great topics. You can ask some of the hosts that have been on with me, my sisters, and some of them. I have passed up some topics that have really been very racy and kind of raunchy. Not to I don't want to use the word raunchy, but very racy. Topics of that could be very conflicting, or because is an agree to disagree, and it's a disagree to agree. But even in those, we cannot be afraid to have those type of topics. So I look forward to diving into those type of topics and really coming correct, my research and all of those different things, biblical side, research side, all the different things. I just want to hit from different angles, where I just want to, it's a marital show. You understand what I'm saying? And married people do things, but it can be confusing, depending on your beliefs, what is and what's not. But those are the things that I look forward to this year, in really talking about it, because guess what? Everyone's doing it, but everyone's not talking about it. Okay, so those are some great surprises and different things that I want to just touch on. So I noticed I didn't say what they were, but because I don't want to, just stir nothing. But notice I didn't say anything. But we're gonna have some good surprises, as far as topics with the marital toolbox. Okay. But anyway, this is only a half an hour show. So I want to get right into it. So we know with a new year comes new relationships. It comes with new love. New expectations, because we have last year expectations of what we're looking for in relationships. Some people keep their same expectations, but things evolve. Relationships definitely evolve. Matter of fact, I was just talking to someone, having been married for 25 years. Husband has passed, gone on. It's been about 3 years now. And I was telling them, I'm looking at the dating scene. Everything is just so different now, and I think I've shared this on here before. Everything is just so different now, so, I don't know what's particularly out there and what to get into, what not to get into. Because for 25 years, I've been busy being a wife. I've been busy being a mom. I've been busy being some other things, pastor, just different things. So that doesn't mean that I was clueless, because I do have adult children. and I have seen their relationship, so I can kind of gauge what was going on, out there. But those my children are 36 or 7 and under. I think my oldest is 36. Don't quote me on it because I've been stop all of that. 36, and my youngest he'll be 27. Okay, so I look at their relationships and I can see a lot of things has changed, but I am 52. I'm saying I'm 52 because I'll be 52 Thursday. Okay, so my birthday is Thursday. I'll be 52. So for me, my perspective, having been married for a long time and and all of that stuff, is totally different from my children and these teeny boppers. So I have a whole nother different perspective and where I'm coming from. So I have different, expectations, things like that. But anyway, I written down some things I was thinking, and I thought about new relationships and new love. And once you get into those, find that new love and get into that new relationship, right? There are some things that I just thought about just real quick that that can have a lasting. You can have a lasting relationship. But of course, with any relationship, you have to do the work. Okay. It's not, relationships are not magical. Things don't change things don't change overnight. Magical, even with prayer and even with praying, I meant to say, in the application of prayer and our beliefs as believers and Christians, there's you're still in a process of waiting for things to change, and different things like that, for a move and all of those different things. So it's still a process of waiting, but in the meantime, while you're waiting, you're doing things to cause things to move along. So that's what you want to do while you're in that process of waiting, not just sitting idle, because while you're waiting, you're not just sitting. Even in a normal waiting room, nobody sits idle in a normal waiting room. There's always some type of action or something that's always going on in the waiting room, right? So it's the same thing with a relationship. While you're waiting on change, while you're waiting for some things to transform, maybe in your husband or your wife or something like that, there's still things that you yourself can do to make sure that the relationship is still evolving and still moving, right? And so I have 5 little I call it little checklists here that will help, that can help get you along, to have a lasting relationship and to keep it growing and to keep it moving. So we're going to get right into it. Number one thing that we always have to understand when it comes to relationship, I've written this down. Understand that you have to understand is no one goes into a relationship. And I just thought about this one. No one comes into a relationship whole. Okay. No one comes into a relationship totally healed. Okay. So that's something that you have to look at. Okay. No one comes in whole or here. There will be areas that will need to be worked on. Okay. There are always areas that need to be worked on. The number one thing is to always remember, when two people are coming together, a man and woman coming together, it's like the merging of two people, whether it's personalities, whether it's characteristics, whether it's background, it could be a culture, it could be a family thing, two parent home, one parent home, however, whatever your beliefs are. It could be job wise. One got one has one, the other one doesn't, blue collar, whatever. You have to understand that you have to work together to bring it together. Okay. And so I put here, there will be areas that will need to be worked on. The important thing is having someone that will show up when it's time to work. Okay. So that is going to promote and nurture a relationship, as long as you two are willing to do the work, and as long as you two are willing to show up when you see those areas that need to be worked on. Then that will also help your relationship last too, because you're willing to grow together. So it's really about growing together, meeting the needs of each other, If I want to say that, yeah, meeting the needs of each other, being that one to help him and him being that one to help you. So understand, number one, um, no one is going to come into the relationship whole. So there's always going to be some type of work done, but the severity of the work is really up to you. When you get into when you find that new love and that new relationship, you know you have to decide whether how dirty you want to get your hands, right? How deep, of the work that you want to get in, because you don't want to get into something and and feelings and stuff start getting, getting aroused and different thing, and love start displaying off, real love for each other, and then you just quit, right? So I always tell people, know what you're getting into. Okay, know what you're getting into. Talk, have those conversations. I'm a big communicator, so communicate and talk, right? So understand that no one gets into a relationship coming in a relationship whole. There will be work. Number two, for a lasting relationship with your new love and this new person, spend more time checking in. Now I'm explaining that. You want to spend more time checking in, because the most important thing is the well-being of your relationship. And the only way you can keep your relationship in that well-being place is you spend more time checking in. You spend more time doing things to grow the relationship. And this is one thing: checking in on each other, seeing how each other is doing, like having those. I seen something on the social media, and a guy, he was, in matter of fact, he was really actually talking about this, and how he had pivotal times, or he set times where he would check in. He was his girl, they not married, he would check in with his girl. They would sit down and they would have conversations, and it wasn't necessarily that anything was particularly going on, but it was like more of an assessment, like to see where each other's at. And I think you guys heard me say this before, that me and my husband, Apostle, we had that time where we had, I think it was like 15 to 20 years or something like that, Mark, where we assessed our marriage, our relationship, and assessed things that was going on around us, because things were changing, and things was had become different with us. And so we checked in, right? We checked in with a counselor. So spend more time checking in on each other. A growing relationship is a healthy relationship. So you want to check in, and how you do this, you want to be more communicative with each other. You want to communicate a lot. That's a check-in. Asking when each other's coming in from work, being more present. Okay, how was your day? Have that moment to sit down. How was your day? Did anything go on your day that you want to talk about? Did anything happen in your day that you want to talk about? How do you feel, that your day is over with? Like, is there anything, you don't want to leave your spouse, you know, going to bed with nothing on their mind, if possible, nothing weighing them down, as possible. I'm sorry, that was someone calling in. You want to always be that one to check in and make sure everything is all right. Okay. This part of checking in, I put down determining the areas of lack, the areas that lack attention. Okay. So some areas that lack attention can be, it's not enough, time. You're not spending enough time with each other. That's a benchmark of checking in. You can use it for time. That's a check-in. Whatever spiritual need is, maybe it's more prayer. That's a check-in. Checking in on the mental. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it might, the wife may need a mental break. If she's a domestic wife and she's home all the time with the children or something like that, she might need a mental break, like checking and see how she's doing, carrying a house. And then the same thing for the wife with the husband, because he may be the provider and he may be doing a lot. if you're the domestic, wife, checking in, see how he's doing. How is he holding up? And if, or if both of you guys are working, just checking in with each other. How is everyone holding up? Because it is true. A growing relationship is a healthy relationship. And also, too, I got to put this in here because let me tell you something, marriage needs sex. That's just it at the end of the day. I got to throw that one in there. Checking in with that as well. Okay. Showing physical love, not just intimacy, because intimacy is not always physical. I always say intimacy leads to physical. It's not really the physical act, but it leads to physical act. It fosters to get there, right? So, but you want to make sure that you're giving time to that, and it's not just a rush job. Like, come on, let's get this done. No. So you want to check in and make sure everything is okay with each other. Number three, spiritual application is a must, especially if you are a believer. Setting time aside this year, look back over how you handle both as you all spirituality and last year. Is it areas in your spirituality where you could heighten up, you can do better, you can do more? Maybe last year you worked so much to where you guys didn't really have those moments and those times where you can sit down and pray together. Sit down and meditate on the word, meditate on the word together. Or you didn't have those times where you were able to minister to each other. Okay. And I put down not just pray over each other, but to also have those times, this spiritual part where you bring everything to the table. Maybe you may be entrepreneurs, bring your goals, bring your visions. Is really about in this area of putting God first. How did you do last year with your spirituality and putting God first? Okay. What results did you get? Were they good results? If so, how did you continue them to be good results? If they wasn't, what can you do to make them good? Okay, so you want to lasting relationship. You want it, in other words, you just want to put God first. Okay, and when you put Him first, first of all, when you put Him first, I mean, you really cannot fail. So we want to always stay on top of that, praying with each other, ministering to each other. As I said with the other one, checking in. That can also be coupled with this part too, spiritual, because after you check in with each other, that's like assessing the well-being of your relationship. You want to close that out with prayer. Okay, wherever you see the shortcoming in after you checked in, this spiritual part, you want to close it out with prayer. You want to pray over that area. Why? Because you want to be better. Okay, you really want to be better at that. Okay, so that's the spiritual aspect. And also too, with the spiritual aspect, whoever your spiritual advisor is, it could be your pastor, it could be your counselor. Let's put more of them in practice. I know we sometimes in our relationships, in our marriage, we got this, I got this, he got this, she got this. But come to find out, you see things maybe falling apart, or you see thread, loose ends happening to different things. So don't be afraid. I am an advocate for counseling. Get with your pastor, get with your counselors, put them into practice. Maybe set a visit. Set up a visit. It's okay to visit the pastor or the counselor, your spiritual advisor. Maybe once every 6 months, just to talk about some things. It's not, like I said, it's not necessarily something going wrong. It don't have to be nothing going wrong or something falling apart, but you just want to just make sure you're assessing these areas and making sure everything is growing and moving, because a growing relationship is a healthy relationship. A relationship should be evolving because turns will happen, right? We are aging, getting older. Things are going in, things are coming out, such as children are coming in. If you're in those ages of having children, children are going out. If you're at that age where children are moving out, things are happening, jobs are changing. maybe it's a new job, maybe you lost the job, health happens, someone could get sick, all different type of things happens. So your relationship must be able to make those turns, right? And so in order for it to help your relationship to make those turns, you want to really be able to sit down and talk to somebody. So I would say it's nothing wrong with scheduling, a visit maybe once every 6 months or however it is conducive for you. But you want to make sure you're able to communicate, those things and talk about those things. So that was number three. Number four. Number four, I put keep your words in a place of honor. Now I'm explaining that to make a lasting relationship. Words have power. Words have the ability to change things. Words have the ability to break things. Words have the ability to build up, and words have the ability to tear down. Okay, so for a lasting relationship, keep your words in a place of honor. If you say you're going to do it, hear what I'm saying. If you say you're going to do something, then do it. Now, of course, if you a marriage that have been in a marriage for a very long time, what happens is in a long, lengthy marriage, familiarity begins to set in, assumptions begin to set in. Oh, that's just her begins to set in. Oh, that's just him begins to set in. It's okay to know each other in that way. Like, I know my wife, I know my husband, but we don't never want to take that part for granted, because what happens is we begin to become their voice. We begin to voice things that particularly may not be. Okay, we begin to like, that's what I want to say, that's good, we begin to voice things that particularly may not be. And when you do that, that's assumption. We begin to assume things, okay, out of our familiarity. Now, it's okay to be familiar with each other. Her favorite perfume, how he's going to act, and that's different. But we don't want to take advantage of that, right? And we don't want to take advantage of, because I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it. Oh, she's going to be okay. She's not saying it. Or he's going to be okay. Oh, he'll just forget. No, we don't want to do that, because inwardly they may not. Your husband may not be saying nothing. Your wife may not. This that you is okay, but some marriages a lot. He may not be saying nothing. She may not be saying nothing. Does not mean that it's okay. They just may be vowed not to say nothing, because maybe possibly a potential argument, a potential confrontation, a potential something, or maybe they thinking, well, we've been here before. Nothing's going to happen or whatever. So we want to keep our words in a place of honor, where when we say something with our words, it's like an honor. We can honor that, and they can, and they'll honor your husband, will honor the wife's words, and the wife's will honor the husband's words. So I put, if you say it, do it. A lot of trust issues begin with broken promises. So we want to leave those broken promises. Okay, last year before, whatever, we want to leave that stuff alone. If you can't, now if you say it and you find that you can't do it, get in there. Okay, get in that 24-hour window. Okay, get in that 24-hour window and explain why. Don't just leave it for chance, like, oh, she'll understand, oh, he'll understand. Get in that 24-hour window. Okay, because outside of that 24-hour window, you leaving things lingering. Now you're leaving it to her to assume, and you're leaving it to him to assume. And then what happens is it begins to build up. You understand what I'm saying? It begins to become a narrative. Okay, so we don't want unnecessary narratives in our relationship. So we want to make it a lasting relationship. So we don't want unnecessary narratives to build up in our relationship. So get in that 24-hour window and say, hey, look, I know what I told you I was going to do. I know I said I would do this today, but something happened, A, B, and C. Be honest. If you want your words to be impactful and be honored when you speak, okay, to each other, you want to be honest. Okay, you want to be honest about things. And this is another thing that I put: when a woman needs to feel a man's words, a woman needs to feel that a man's words are a place of safety, and a man needs to feel a woman's words are a place of trust. For a woman, when a man's for a woman, when a man's words create a place of hurt, she will no longer feel safe with what he says, right? And for a man, when a woman's words create a place of dishonesty, he will no longer feel interested in what she says. And that is true, right? So we want to make sure that when we speak something and we say something to each other, we want to honor that. Now that may not be something we don't think about, because we're just talking to each other because we've been in a relationship so long, so we forget that part. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, we become familiar with each other. And I tell anybody that's been married in a relationship for a long time, be careful with that familiarity, because it can create problems. It really can create problems um, in in the marriage, or in the relationship. Okay, so you want to always communicate honest things. So if you say you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to fix that cabinet, get to fixing that cabinet. Okay, all right, okay. um the last one I want to get to is, let me see what I got here. Please know. This is a good one. Please know that sex is not always the answer. Okay? Please know, you want a lasting relationship, okay? Please know that sex is not always the answer. Get back to the times, of intimacy. Intimacy is just as much as an answer as sex. So sex is not always the answer to everything. So you want to get back to being more intimate, okay? Those intimate times, remember what it was like when you first met each other. Get back to those times. Times of when you were wooing each other, times charming, dating, when it was a chase. Remember the long hours? I can remember the long hours on the phone. Now you may say, well, we live together, so how are we going to do long hours on the phone? Yes, you can do it. You can be in one room. How about try it? You can be in one room. She can be in the other room. Call her, call him, and talk to each other on the phone like you would always talk to each other. Okay, these are lasting relationships. These are nurturing. It's nurturing love. It's nurturing intimacy. And then we'll get to the sexual part. But those things that kept the fire, the fire going. Remember the beautiful things you did to get them. Okay, so please understand, for a lasting relationship as well, sex will not always be the answer, but those things that you do before that time. Forget me notes, leaving different things around, different notes in his pocket, different notes in her pocket, just little things like that. Okay, to foster a lasting relationship. It's just little things to let each other know, right, that you love them. And sex is not always it, to show your husband or your wife that you love them. But for women, I can tell you, for a woman, it's those little things, that let us know that our husbands love us. Those little things like flowers. I'm a flowers girl. I'm a candy girl. Maybe buy her a bottle of perfume or take her out to dinner. Like, date me. And I'm not saying that men don't feel like, because you have men that feel the same way that a woman may feel. The wife may feel, date me, take me out, buy me flowers. You know what I'm saying? Charm me, date me all over again. You know what I'm saying? So, please understand that sex is not the end of all things. Okay, and so those are the 5 things that I was thinking about, sitting here thinking about, as far as this year, as far as new love and new relationship, to create and foster a lasting relationship. Number one, understand that no one comes in a relationship whole. It's going to be work, but long as you got someone that's willing to do the work. Number two, check in with each other. Okay. Number three, spiritual application. Okay, get back to that. If you lost it, that back to that praying and all those different things. And number 4, keep your words in a place of honor. And number 5, please understand that sex is not the answer. So this is my time. I am Octavia, Pastor Octavia Lucas. I want to say thank you for joining me in the Marital Toolbox. God bless until we see each other again. Not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. Bye-bye. God bless.